I hadn't stepped foot in Cedar Falls in 5 years, and the first thing I saw when I walked into that funeral home was my mother's face doing the math. She was calculating how broken I looked, how much I might need them now, how easy it would be to make me apologize before the casket was even closed. Claire. My father said my name like it cost him something. You came. Grandma asked for me, I said. Not you. That's the whole reason I was standing in that lobby, smelling old flowers and older secrets. My grandmother, Ruth Whitfield, the only person in that family who never once looked at me like I was a mistake, had died on a Tuesday. And in her will, she'd asked for one specific thing, that I be there when it was read. My parents expected tears. They expected me to fall into my mother's arms and beg for the family back. 5 years of silence, they thought, would have worn me down to nothing. They had no idea what I was carrying in my bag. If you've ever come back to a place that broke you, just to prove you survived it, stay with me. This one gets heavy. To understand why I left, you have to go back to my 30th birthday. My parents threw it at the Magnolia Room, the nicest restaurant in town, the kind of place with candlelight and a piano nobody ever really played. 60 guests, my mother in pearls, my father giving a toast about family loyalty like he'd invented the word. And then, in front of everyone, he said I had betrayed this family in ways you people don't need to know about. He said I was no longer welcome at the table. My mother didn't defend me. She just looked down at her wine glass, like it had personally offended her. I remember every sound in that room going quiet. I remember my hands shaking. I remember, 3 tables away, an older couple I'd never met, a woman with soft gray eyes, and a man who kept staring at me like he recognized something, going very, very still. I didn't know yet why they were watching me like that. I wouldn't know for years. I left Cedar Falls that same week. No goodbye, no forwarding address. I built a life 2 states away, a small apartment, a job I was proud of, a quiet kind of peace nobody in my family ever gave me credit for wanting. People assumed I ran because I was guilty. My parents let them assume that. It was easier for them if the town believed their daughter was the problem. But here's what nobody knew. I didn't leave because I did something wrong. I left because I found something wrong. Something in my father's business records, back when I still helped with the books. Numbers that didn't add up, contracts that didn't match invoices. I asked questions. 2 weeks later, I was the villain at my own birthday party. Funny how that works. Ask the wrong question, and suddenly you're the one who gets erased. The will reading was in my father's old lawyer's office, the same wood-paneled room I remembered from childhood. My parents sat stiff and proper. My younger brother, Dale, wouldn't meet my eyes. The lawyer read through the small stuff first: jewelry, furniture, a modest amount split between my parents and Dale. Then he paused. Ruth Whitfield left one item specifically to Claire, he said. A sealed box. She said Claire would know what to do with it. My mother's jaw tightened. A box of what? I already had a guess. Because 2 years ago, my grandmother had found me. Not through my parents, through an old friend. A phone number passed along quietly. We talked in secret for 2 years. She told me things. She sent me copies of things. She said one day I'd need the originals. And she was right. I opened the box right there in that office. Inside were letters. Dozens of them, addressed to me, dated over almost 30 years. Return address? A small town 4 hours away. Sender's last name? Bennett. My mother's face went the color of paper. These were sent to our house, I said, holding up the first one, postmarked when I was 6 years old. Every single one. And none of them ever reached me. If you're new here, this is the part of the story where the truth stops being a rumor and becomes proof. Keep watching. It gets worse before it gets better. My father found his voice first. You don't understand the situation. Then explain it, I said. Explain why there are letters from a woman named Diane Bennett asking about a daughter she gave up for adoption in 1996. Explain why the dates match my birthday. Explain why 3 tables away at my 30th birthday party, there was a couple who couldn't stop staring at me. The room went silent, the way it had gone silent 5 years earlier. Except this time, I wasn't the one shaking. My mother's voice came out small. We adopted you. We never lied about that. You never told me either, I said. And you made sure I never found out there was a woman out there who never stopped looking for me. Grandma Ruth had known. She'd kept every letter Diane Bennett sent, letters my parents intercepted and hid in a drawer for decades, because an open adoption made them uncomfortable, because a real mother showing up made them feel replaceable. Silence, for them, wasn't cruelty in their minds. It was control, dressed up as protection. But there was more in that box. Bank statements. Records connecting my father's business adjustments to money paid quietly to make an old audit disappear. The same records I'd stumbled onto years before, the ones that had gotten me erased from my own birthday. My grandmother had spent her final years quietly gathering proof of both truths my parents buried. The daughter they hid from, and the fraud they hid behind me. You knew, I said to my father. You knew I found real evidence back then. You didn't disown me because I betrayed the family. You disowned me because I was right. He didn't deny it. That was its own kind of confession. My mother was crying now, but I didn't reach for her. Not out of cruelty, out of self-respect. I had spent 5 years learning that comfort I didn't feel wasn't something I owed anyone anymore. Why didn't you just tell me the truth? I asked. And for once, my voice wasn't shaking. About any of it. My father looked older than I'd ever seen him. Because the truth would have cost us everything. It's costing you now, I said quietly. Just later than it should have. I left that office and drove to the address on the last letter Diane Bennett had ever sent, 3 years before my grandmother died. My hands were steady on the wheel, but my chest wasn't. The woman who opened the door had soft gray eyes. I recognized her instantly, because I'd seen those eyes once before, 3 tables away, watching me blow out 30 candles in a room full of people who didn't actually want me there. I always wondered, she said, voice breaking, if you knew we were there that night. I didn't, I said. Not until now. We stood in that doorway a long time, not saying much, because some reunions don't need speeches. They just need somebody to finally show up. I'm not going to tell you my parents apologized the way movies make you expect. My father is still fighting to keep his name out of the fraud records. My mother still calls sometimes, asking why I can't just let the past be the past. I let her know, gently but clearly, that the past doesn't get to stay buried just because it's inconvenient for the people who buried it. I didn't come back for revenge. I didn't come back begging for forgiveness either. I came back because a woman who actually loved me made sure the truth outlived her silence. If this story meant something to you, If you've ever had to leave the people who were supposed to protect you just to find the ones who actually did, tell me in the comments. And if you want more stories like this one, stay close. There are more truths waiting to be found, 3 tables away.